least the Russians, but the Russian military losses also say it's like what, just under 11 million.
Yeah, but the only thing that I have to say about the Russian losses that people forget, during Operation Barbarossa and Operation Typhoon, a lot of the casualties are prisoners of war.
Yeah, but
So,
these are
like, of
deaths.
course,
So
yeah, these are deaths. Yeah, I'm just saying, but like sometimes when you're looking at these
yeah,
numbers and they look so outrageous, you have to remember, like, at the beginning of Barbarossa, there's pockets that surrender. That's like more than like 100,000. It's crazy how many people
s-
surrender.
they surrendered armies as a whole, and generally, if if we see even in our ancient history battles, Middle Ages, the kills are a small percentage of the total casualties. It's
Yeah, of
generally the
course.
smallest of the percentages.
Yep. And as for China's casualties, I mean, it's disgusting. The Japanese were fully using chemical warfare on civilians. So famously, the Jiangsu Fujian campaign, which happened kind of as a result of the Doolittle raid, it was kind of a retaliation against the population. Uh, I mean, it's not just Unit 731. There's like multiple other different units that are all across Asia that are practicing all of this warfare using bubonic plague, using typhoid, every kind of like disease, poisoning wells, poisoning like children's candy and handing it out in villages. Like, it's
Uh,
disgusting. It's maximum damage.
that's yeah. But I don't know. One thing about like the Soviets and Chinese casualties is just like if you are losing, you just have one solution: just raise new armies. That is pretty much Rome in the Second Punic War and First Punic War, I might
Exactly.
add.
Yeah, pretty much
I
the same
think people
system.
people really need to think about how Rome just survived the Second Punic War, especially in the aftermath of Cannae, because psychologically it was devastating.
Yeah,
And beyond psychologically, their allies did turn against them. Macedonia decided to opportunistically join in
of course.
because, as we discussed with Dan, Greeks are never united in the ancient
Never.
times.
They like fighting each other more than anybody else.
Yeah, and even in the aftermath of Cannae, Northern Gaul rising in revolt and butchering two legions, they literally just within a couple of weeks after Cannae, 40,000 soldiers are raised for the defense of the Eternal City. And a few months after Cannae, if you include their auxiliaries, I think Rome had 12 to 13 legions in the field. And by 211, which is when we get to the time where Scipio Africanus starts taking command in Hispania,
Yeah.
they're maintaining 25 legions across Italy, Spain, Sardinia, Corsica.
Yeah, no, it's a
Uh,
crazy comeback.
and they've taken, it is estimated, I think they lost 20 to 25% of their adult males that were eligible for military age. That's
Yeah.
massive. That they don't have to fight too much in Greece thanks to Lavinus.
Yeah.
That guy was. I really love the way he just dealt with them.
And I mean, to be honest, the biggest thing about Hannibal is he never had the support of his own people. Like
Yeah,
His
well,
senate was against him. Like, it's crazy. Like
yeah.
they killed him logistically. They cut his throat when he does this amazing feat. Like it's great that you stormed into Italy
And you
like
got a
that,
port
but
city as well,
yeah,
Tarentum, because you need a port for your supplies. And the problem is the Romans are adapting because I think after Cannae, the Fabian strategy was because Hannibal would still beat units and armies as a whole, but
no, of course, yeah.
these units are going to be like what? They're now, what, two legions strong at most.
Here,
So it's not a big loss.
here's a thought experiment. What was a what could a realistic victory have looked like for Hannibal? Could he have left? Like, could he have said, "Hey, this was a punitive expedition in the end, and bye bye"?
No, I don't
No.
think it could have been punitive. He would have to force a surrender because, as you said, his own senate was hostile against him.
Yeah, but he couldn't force a surrender. That was the issue because that was Rome's. They just didn't
The
surrender.
only hope, if you really ask me, was either he managed to go and cement himself properly in southern Italy and start playing a defensive war. But that is a long-term thing, and or maybe he just goes to the city of Rome and just on the hope keyword hope. The city just is so terrified because of the losses that they just surrender.
It's
Right
a
now,
possibility.
it's very unlikely. And keep in mind, siege warfare in this time in the Western Mediterranean is useless.
Yeah.
Like, I think the best example is the city of Saguntum, which kickstarted the entire Punic War. He had an army of 90,000 ish men in Iberia. It took him 8 months to besiege and capture the city. 8 months. Now, are you telling me you're going to be. He's has right, immediately after Canny 40,000 to 45,000 men, right? 40,000 if maybe I just subtract around 5,000 who might be much more wounded. You're not going to cross over and defeat Rome, right? Because if you have to encircle the city and starve them out, your lines are going to be spread horribly thin. But I think that was the only way Hannibal would be, able to gain something.
Yeah.
And again, that's just in hope. But honestly, I think the greatest masterpiece of the war was how the First Macedonian War ended, which was concurrent with the Second Punic War. Because Marcus Valerius Labienus goes there because Rome has a few ports in Illyria and on the Greek peninsula, just ports, so they don't have a big presence there. Philip of Macedon wants that, and he thinks, all right, Rome's down, I can backstab them and take gain at their expense.
Here, one second. I'm pulling up another map that
Yeah,
incorporates
yeah,
the Greek
perfect.
aspects. It's one that I'm a little ignorant about because I've learned this so long ago in university. But what was the strategy on the Greek side for how were they going to at least contribute
Okay,
enough to collapse Rome?
so the thing is, it was only Macedonia being
Yeah, yeah,
opportunistic under Philip
yeah,
the Fifth, right? Because you had so the Hellenistic and Greek world, right? See, you already have the three great kingdoms, right? Ptolemaic Egypt, the Macedonian kingdom, and the Seleucid Empire. And then you have like the cities of Pergamon, many independent states, and then two major groups in Greece, which are the Achaean League,
yeah.
which kind of you could say is like not between Macedon and central Greece and southern Greece, and the Aetolian League.
Mm-hmm.
And typical to how the Macedonian kingdom is fighting its big Hellenistic rivals, it does the exact same thing there with these guys. You know, Aetolia and Macedonia will form an alliance against the Achaeans, and then when one side will then backstab the other and allow the Achaeans to recover and then form an alliance. Typical day in the office. So Rome's strategy, right, where you see on the map, could you zoom in a little bit towards the Greek side?
Wow, I zoomed in a
Like,
lot.
yeah, yeah. I think this is good though. Just can you scroll a little bit up on the map? Yeah, perfect. So you can see where it shows Apollonia and Epidamos. They are both influenced by Rome. Now, what do you need if you want to land a invasion army or transport an invasion army? A port.
Fleets. Yeah, not important.
And so Philip wanted to capture them. Now, Rome doesn't have manpower to divert to a large. So Lavinus comes. He gives a really sweet deal to the Aetolian League. He's like, oh yeah, you know, you can take it, get whoever you want, you know. But just remember, if Philip beats us and we're off the peninsula, he's going to come after you next and he's going to be stronger. He plays diplomacy. That is the key thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Aetolians enter into an agreement with Rome and they're kind of convinced because this is around 212 BC where Rome has now started to win, or at least I won't call win, but they're holding Hannibal to stalemates and are grinding him down through attrition.
Yeah.
Now, they join and the Romans and Aetolians are fighting and the Achaeans then decide to join the Antigonid kingdom of Macedonia. Why? Because hey, if Macedonia falls because two stronger players are attacking it, the Achaeans will absorb Macedonia and then oh shit, we're next.
Mm-hmm.
So what do the Achaeans do? They join in on the Macedonian kingdom. what do the Aetolians do after that? They get the rest of Asia Minor involved. The regions we considered in the Ionian Revolt episodes, they all join. Pergamum and some states of Thrace, they all join in. So the Romans just have to keep still in their area, just chill out, and they play defensive. They derail talks so that they keep the forces bottled up here, like the enemy forces of Macedonia.
Yeah.